What's the most unforgivable thing a teacher ever did? I was 16 when my English teacher, Mrs. Parker, shattered my confidence and nearly ruined my future because of a personal vendetta. She was a respected, strict, but fair veteran with 20 years at the school, chairing the department and running the literary magazine, whose recommendation could make or break college applications. I was the bookworm who preferred the library to the cafeteria, English was my sanctuary, and my essays always earned top marks. My dream was to study journalism at Northwestern, where my mom once went before she passed away. In junior year, Mrs. Parker announced our semester project. This research paper is 40% of your final grade, tapping her red pen, and the top 3 will be published in the academic journal. I knew my chance had come. I had been working in secret on a piece about how social media affects teen mental health for months, interviewing students, counselors, even a psychiatrist. I poured everything into that paper, staying up night after night, perfecting every paragraph. My dad even took a day off to proofread it. "This is really good, kiddo," he said. "Your mom would be so proud." On submission day, Mrs. Parker collected our papers. 2 weeks later, she returned them face down. I turned mine over and froze at a C marked in red. Excessive speculation, lacks scholarly rigor, overly emotional analysis. I couldn't breathe. I had never gotten below an A. After class, I approached her. "Mrs. Parker, I don't understand this grade. What did I do wrong?" She replied without looking up. "The rubric speaks for itself, Ellie. Not every student is cut out for academic writing." I went home and cried all night. The next day, the published names were announced, including the principal's daughter, whose recycling papers she'd boasted about finishing just before the deadline. In the hallway, I overheard Mrs. Parker saying, "I couldn't choose Ellie's paper. Her mother always outshone me with her Northwestern journalism." My blood ran cold. My mother, who had once taught at this school before she got sick, had become the target of jealousy. I realized then that this was never about my work at all. That night at dinner, Dad noticed my distress. He said quietly, "Your mother mentioned a jealous colleague once, but this is your education, Ellie. We can't let this stand." The next day, he met with Mrs. Parker and the principal, armed with my paper, research notes, and copies of my previous work. The principal murmured, "This doesn't match Ellie's usual performance." Mrs. Parker snapped, "Perhaps she's had too much help at home." My dad reminded her of my mother's honor as a Northwestern journalism graduate. The principal then reviewed my paper personally. 2 days later, she called me into her office and said, "This is exceptional work, Ellie. I've had 2 other English teachers evaluate it, sliding 2 new grades, A and A+, across her desk. I'd like to include this in our journal," she added. I could only nod. Mrs. Parker was immediately barred from grading my work and soon announced her early retirement. I got accepted to Northwestern with a partial scholarship. The day my acceptance letter arrived, I visited my mom's grave and whispered, "I made it, Mom." At my journalism graduation, a professor pulled me aside and said, "Your article on academic bias was picked up by a national education journal. Rare for an undergraduate." I said nothing about Mrs. Parker. After all, she had taught me that sometimes the most powerful stories come from our deepest wounds.